your why should transcend business. Your why should transcend everything else. What motivates you should transcend like everything else. Like it should be bigger. It should help other people. It should be bigger than what you could do on your own. Like this, I guess Rick, I just want to tell him, man, like everybody's why should be to share a message with the entire world. Hey everybody, Curious Entrepreneur Randall Cottrell here, and I've been wrecking my brain for like 3 days on what to talk about for this episode. I decided I'd talk about my why, the why. People say you got to do it because you got to have your why, some deep rooted, thing in you that, it's the reason that compels you to do what you're doing when it comes to starting a business or anything like that. If you ask me why I'm doing something, it's because it's because of what I want to do. It's what I feel called to do. I guess there's no deep trauma driven thing that I'm working off of here, and I guess I realize like a lot of people have trauma that motivates them to do certain things. But my why, I come from a place of like victory, like happiness. I don't work from trauma. And this episode, I just want to talk about, why you're doing what you're doing. Because this is like a blue pill, red pill thing. If you're working out of a place of like my why is because of my pain, let's call it the blue pill. My why is because I just love it, so I'm gonna do it. Let's call it the red pill. Blue pill people, what I've noticed about working from a place of pain is that you never truly get past it, and it bleeds into everything you do. That why bleeds into like every decision you make. And it bleeds into who you'll talk to, who you'll trust. It bleeds into how you do business. It bleeds into, your perspective. And I don't want to discount your pain or your trauma or that motivation that you have. But I call it being motivated by obligation. And the obligation is to your pain. On the other side, like I wrote this whole book, by the way. I have never published it, but it talks about what motivates people. And it's either passion, obligation, desire, or opportunity. And the obligation people, that's a miserable way to live. Like that's a miserable way to go through putting together a team, the money, spending the time, the effort, the energy. It's a miserable way to live and do that. Now, on the other side, you got the people that are like, they're just going to do it anyways. And I'm one of those people. I'm just going to do it. It's not because I'm hurting. It's not because, I have this major problem in life that I'm trying to solve. I just like doing what I do. And if I do something new, it's because I just like it. Now, I don't know if I can really offer you that freedom, for you to just say, well, I'm just going to do what I want to do. I don't know if I can offer it because I've learned something that living with this pill, you got to be okay being lonely. Now, I know it's like a shock to hear that. But when you're okay with yourself and what you're doing, and you're doing it because you just want to do it and you like doing it, you will find yourself, for the most part, starting out fairly isolated. Because what's crazy about passion or being motivated by passion, it's just you with the passion. So here's a good example. Here's a really good example. For those of y'all that go to churches or any kind of, yeah, any kind of like Protestant church, you'll find that there's some pastor there, there's some, some founder, and, people start showing up. They start walking in the door, and they are there for whatever reason, who cares? But at some point, they start to develop their own vision of what that place should look like. And the problem is the person who created that place has their own vision of what it should look like. It's they're passionate about. Now, one day, the person that's attending is going to come up to the pastor and they're going to be like, look, it's funny. It always happens at children's church. It always happens with kids. I think we should do this with the kids. I think it'd be great. And I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do that. And then the founder is like, no. Now, here's what's really interesting. This is crazy right here. I'm going to go really deep. The founder's not wrong, and the member's not wrong. Sometimes the founder's so passionate about the part that they started with, they can't get passionate about anything else. And then the member's so passionate about the part that they want to be in, they can't get passionate about anything else. So what you have is like, you have in the ocean, there's currents that flow by each other all the time, and then the stuff doesn't mix. But in this current, there's a fish that probably needs to eat this plankton that's in this current, but they don't mix. So they go by each other all the time, and they never actually connect. They can't feed each other. And that's what it's like living with a passion. And I think you got to be okay with that. You got to be okay with that. But we're going to go a little bit deeper here, which is, we want to talk about the why. All right. So if we got obligation, we got passion. Let's look at businesses. When you start your company, you started it years ago, yesterday, whatever it is, you're going to start it tomorrow. When you look at starting that, you're going to have a passion. Then you're going to have people eventually that come up to you with all kind of ideas and dreams for you. And they're going to be asking you to adopt their dream babies and adopt their passion babies. And they're going to want you to take them in and they want you to give your energy to their dreams. And this is why I say it gets lonely, because you can't do that. You can't give all your energy to their dreams. You got to give it to yours. And you'll find that just like in the church, there's this separation where somebody wants to do something, passionate want to do it. And it's not, like I said, it's not that they're wrong. It's just not their dream. It's not their passion. In business, it's going to be the same thing. And you'll find yourself constantly passing by people, but you won't be able to truly connect with them because your visions just don't align at that time or ever. But hey, listen, be okay with it. It's okay. You know what, Raekwon, I really want to do this conference, man. Like where we go, we deal with this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, no, we don't have to be bosses and be bad and be so strong. No, I'm lonely because my dream's different than your dream and we can't get together. Like, that's a real thing. You know what I mean? But anyhow, y'all, flipping sides back to the obligation side. You get the freedom, you get the passion here, but you will end up lonely sometimes. Obligation side, to go a little deeper, what ends up happening here is a contrast. It's really insane. Everybody wants to be with those who will do what they want them to do. I'd love being your friend if you do what I want you to do, right? So business owners, if you have people in your life that are like, hey, I see that you started a business. Are you going to? But make sure you take my mindset with you. Make sure you take my perspective with you. Make sure you take my goals with you. Because whatever reason, let's say you respect them. Let's say you admire them. Let's say they're just the only person you know who's talking to you about it. I can't tell you how wrong that is. I can't tell you how twisted that is. To take, number one, take the blue pill and live off of obligation as your motivation. I'm gonna tell you that's terrible. Number two, in that obligation, you have these false relationships with people who say they're for you, they support you, they love you, as long as you do what they want, as long as you carry them along. So now you have, I'm miserable with people and I'm lonely. So let me go back to this why thing. Like, how does all this tie in? Your why has to be bigger than you and everybody else around you. It has to serve more than you and everybody else around you. My challenge to you is, does your why match the truth about who you are? Like, that's my question. If you say that I'm doing it because, I'm just, okay, I'm going to start a children's business because I love children. I would explore with you if you want to. Are you doing it because you love children, or are you doing it because you didn't have those things as a child and you want to provide them? Doesn't mean you love children. That means that you're trying to deal with your trauma. Are you doing it because you are excited about it, but in your heart you're not going to stick with it because you'll do a billion things. You'll do whatever suits you. Or both are selfish. So let's go a little deeper here. The question is your why selfish? Is it self-serving? Now, my personal testimony is that my why was really self-serving. I did what I did for years because it worked for me. But I learned something about the why. The why has to be bigger than you, has to serve more than you. It has to create opportunities that are more beneficial than just for you. Now, if you believe in God and you're hearing this, well, like God, like Jehovah. If you believe in Jehovah, you have the ability to go and dig into what makes you you from a very factual, hard point, all the blessings, all the truth about it. And it's amazing. If you believe in other things, I really think you need to study internally what makes you you, and study what you're dealing with that's making you you. Now I separate those two things because they are separate. Not everybody's going to be, Christian, and even Christians, heck, they don't even freaking know who they are, but as a rule, all Christians should have a pretty firm identity because it was built, in Christ. Now, if you're a business owner who does not have that identity, needs that identity, hey, I'd love to talk to you about it. Let's be real. But truth is, we may not be there yet. You know what I mean? And this is not like a preaching show. My life is built off of my testimony, though. My whole life is built off of the grace and the peace that I have because of what I believe and what I've experienced. Now, we can talk about this later, but if you are trying to figure out what's motivating you to be who you are and do what you're doing, your why, that can go deep fast. That can go deep really fast. But I challenge you to ask yourself, is it selfishness? Is my why truly an expression of my selfishness? I'm not going to go any further on this podcast. This is one that I think, if you listen to this and this is kind of pricking you a little bit, and you're like, am I selfish? Or I'm not selfish. I'm never selfish. I'm in business to serve people. No. You're in business to make money. That's why you're in business. But your why should transcend business. Your why should transcend everything else. What motivates you should transcend everything else. Like, it should be bigger. It should help other people. It should be bigger than what you could do on your own. Like this, I guess Rick, I just want to tell him, man, like, everybody's why should be to share a message with the entire world. It shouldn't just be your city, your home, your state. Your why should be massive. And it should not just be about you. It shouldn't just be selfish, man. I really want to go deeper in that topic. Maybe I will. If we create like a private channel for, you got to subscribe, or like to go deeper into that. We need to create like a VIP room where we go into some really deep stuff. But hey, everybody, if you're listening to this, I listened to Cat Williams the other day, and they were messing with him. They were like poking about him, about why he's doing what he's doing. And I was so weird listening to some of these people that you think are like not great people, they curse a lot, they say a lot of terrible stuff, but they live with a conviction that's bigger than what most people can understand. They have a responsibility to live and share and be at a higher level. And I think that's what you got to be looking at. It's got to be bigger than you. Some of that crassness they have, and the attitude they have, and the way they tell jokes, it's bigger. They cannot keep planting seeds. They have to grow something. And y'all, you got to get out of that mode of planting seeds and you're hoarding it all in your little garden, or you're throwing them everywhere and hoping they grow. You got to get to this place where your why is something, that I just described. That is, you're going after the nations. You're going after the world, and it's not about you anymore. So we went from my why to what it's really about, which is serving everybody else in this world and making money doing it. Man, I don't know. I've got a lot of introspection going on. Y'all, curious entrepreneur, seeking wisdom. Is it seeking wisdom? Taking risk, or embracing wisdom, taking risk. Take the risk on yourself and have that conversation with yourself. Are you doing what you're doing for you? Or are you doing what you're doing to serve this world that's around you? What motivates you? Think about that. See you next time.